What's up, y'all? We back to chapter 3 of some more perfect days, and we're gonna figure out what the hell T.O. is doing, because that last chapter was too short, and you know, he kind of on some weird shit. He met this girl, you know what I'm saying? I ain't even gonna say he got her number, because he kind of stole her number, because he said he was gonna call a cab, but he ended up calling himself. We're gonna figure out more about Teo, hopefully in chapter 3. All right, let's see what he on.
This was meant for your listening pleasure.
Dang, I keep calling him Teo.
Teodoro?
His name's Theo, y'all. I'm sorry.
No! No!
Theo wanted to call her the minute he woke up. He punched in her number, which he already knew by heart. Golly! But he didn't have the courage to complete the call. How would he explain that he had her number? It would sound pathetic, childish even, if he told her what he'd done. He now realized how distant she still was. If he did nothing and just deleted her contact from his phone, they might never see each other again. How often in life do we cross paths with such a special person? But Theo, how is she special though? Because she painted her nails different colors? And she said she wanna fuck. And she kissed you on the lips? Well, Theo, she was drunk.
I'm trying to get it in.
Samson came over, frolicking around his legs. Theo stroked his thick fur and let him lick his hands. Then he pushed him away. He didn't want to be consoled. Is that the dog's fault that you don't want to be consoled? Don't push him away. You let him lick your hands in the first place, dog. Ew. I'm sorry. I'm not an animal person. But don't let him lick your hands if you just want to push him away. What the fuck? He want to love you. He dressed for church. "We're running late!" shouted his mother from the elevator. He took a deep breath. He didn't have to go everywhere with her, pushing her in a wheelchair over sidewalks of Copacabana like a long-suffering nurse. He suppressed the thought. "Coming, mother." He got his wallet and cell from the bedside table before leaving. "May the Lord accept a sacrifice at your hands, for the praise and glory of his name, for our good and the good of all, his holy church." Theo found Sunday Mass an interesting ritual. The piety of some members of the congregation made him want to laugh, watery-eyed, lips murmuring in prayer as if God could hear them. He is among us. Yeah, why are they saying it like that? There was also something surreal about it. Those same people lived such debauched lives, wallowing in the worldly pleasures, and then at the first sign of a problem raced off to pray for redemption they didn't deserve. It is our duty and our salvation. Sunday Mass used to be torture for him. He attended... What's that word? He attended catechism class as a child and had been confirmed. Patricia was very religious. For as long as he could remember, he'd resented the fact that he couldn't question the dogmas of faith. "May your son remain among us." He quickly realized that it wasn't a Catholic's duty to debate. Rather, it was to accept and memorize, as children learn their times tables, and he'd learn to put those 60 minutes to better use. "Send your Holy Spirit." He knew every line in the prayer book by heart. The congregation didn't even pay attention to what they were saying. They chanted in unison. "Save us, Savior of the world, for by your cross and resurrection you have set us free." He chanted along with them, smiling at his mother from time to time, while his imagination roamed far from the noisy church. Mass and anatomy class were the moments where he felt most relaxed. Is it Mass? I think it's Mass, y'all. Sorry to all my Catholic people. I'm sorry if I'm saying stuff wrong. Mass and anatomy class were the moments when he felt most relaxed. "Receive, O Lord, our offerings." That Sunday, however, his thoughts alighted on Clarice and refused to rise to loftier heights. During the homily, he remembered the previous day, the forward way she had approached him, the plate of sausages and meat, her provocative question, "Theo, do you fuck?"
And I'll knock the dust off that. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
"May your spirit unite us as one body." Memories depleted. He was beginning to imagine a new conversation, scents, flavors. His time with Clarice would be much more special than he'd shared with Gertrude. Because Gertrude was a dead body, sir. Let us walk in love and joy. He had an idea. It would have to be thought out carefully if it were to work. Nevertheless, it was already enough to lift his spirits. Grant us, O Lord, eternal light. By the end of Mass, he had run through it 3 times in his mind and had it all worked out. Flawless. He knew how to get to Clarice. Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.
When they left the church, Patricia saw a friend she hadn't seen in weeks. Theo excused himself, saying he had to study. He bought a phone card at a newsstand and found a phone booth in a square that wasn't very busy. The inside of the booth was plastered with ads for prostitutes, black stripes covering their eyes and nothing over their private parts, velvet mouths and hot vaginas. Those were dirty women. Clarice was different, forward, but sweet.
It's a what?
Were ads plastered for prostitutes? I thought it was illegal. Why they just got ads? Like, ads? He dialed her number. She answered on the second ring. Theo hung up. He had to breathe deeply before calling again. She picked up quickly. Again. Good afternoon. May I speak to Clarice, please? He said, faking a Sao Paula accent. Paula? It's like Paulu. So I'm just gonna say Paula accent. Speaking. Who is it? Good afternoon, Clarice. I'm from the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics. Your name is in our system. Could you confirm your surname, please? Montes? Great, thank you. How old are you? 24. He was surprised that she was 2 years older than him. Please hold while I update our records. I'm sorry, I don't know where that is, and I don't know what accent that is. A bus sped down the street, honking at a car pulling out of a parking spot. He covered the mouthpiece. Thank you for waiting. We're conducting a survey of university students. You attend a university, don't you? That accent sucks. I'm so sorry. We're conducting a survey of university students. You attend a university, don't you? Yes. There was a hint of impatience in her reply. Could you tell me what you study and where? Art history at RJSU. Is that Rio de Janeiro? Okay, listen. As far as I know, that's RJSU. What time of the day do your classes start? 7 a.m. Are you satisfied with your program? They'll sue me if I say what I really think of that hellhole. What year are you in? Hey, do you want to know my birthday, mother's name, and color of my panties too? Theo began to feel pins and needles in his hands. Of course not. This is the last question. What year are you in? 3rd. The Institute thanks you for taking part in our survey. She hung up without answering. Theo put the phone back on the hook and turned over the information in his mind. A smile spread across his face. Sunday dragged on. Theo didn't like Sundays. He wasn't tired, so he researched Clarice on the internet for hours. He discovered that she'd placed first in the art history entrance exam, with a high enough score to get into the most competitive courses. He also saw that she placed well in other entrance exams, always appearing at the top of the list. He found a blog on astrology where she'd left some comments. On the social networks, the name Clarice Montes. It's literally Montes, bro. On the social networks, the name Clarice Montes brought up a hideous-looking woman who obviously wasn't her. Before going to bed, Theo set his alarm for early the next day. At 7 a.m., he'd be at the School of Art History. You just go show up, huh? Okay, sir. Okay. The Black Vectra was a remnant of the Avalar family's former prestige, from days when they lived in a penthouse in Copacabana. Despite all her cuts and spending, Patricia had gone out of her way to keep the car. What are we talking about? Oh, so they have a car. Is that a vector as a car. Theo arrived at the university at 6:30. Damn, you said 7, bro. You said 7, bro. The art history department was deserted. He pulled up the hood of his jacket over his head. Although it was spring, there was an icy draft running through the silent corridors. Where can I find the third-year students? He asked the cleaner. The man didn't know. He sat on a bench in the foyer watching the students come and go. He brought a book by, I think that's didnt. Alright. But was so nervous he couldn't find any meaning in the words. Yeah. God damn. How far low you gonna go? How low can you go? Can you go down low? All the way to the flow? Don't go to the flow. Stay on my face, nigga. Anxiety gets you like that when shit. When you waiting on something and you trying to read, boy, I be reading that same sentence for like 10 minutes. He read and reread the first page, but it was useless. Pretty girls went past, exotic hair, fair skin, holding laptops, but there was no sign of Clarice. The ill-tempered woman at the desk snapped that it was the end of the semester. They might already be on vacation, and she had no way of knowing. Bitch, you can ask a question. He returned to the foyer, clinging to the railing of the hazy staircase that connected him to Clarice. He couldn't see the steps in front of him. The climb was treacherous. It occurred to him to give up and go back to his books and bodies. If Clarice had wanted him around, she'd have found a way to make it happen. She was the kind of girl who always got what she wanted. His defeat was confirmed by a girl with bulging eyes.
The third years are finished for the semester. I'm a fourth year, but I have some classes with them. The 4 years are finished too. I just came for my results. I have no idea who Clarice is.
Theo thanked her impatiently. The idiot didn't know who Clarice was. How absurd. He headed down the ramp in front of the university thinking that people were unaware of the best things around them. He was already halfway back to the parking lot when he saw Clarice walk past talking to a friend. Once the surprise passed, he followed her. He took the coincidence as a sign that he was on the right path, which made him feel strong and powerful. Clarice and her friend went into the office. Strong and powerful, sir? How about creepy? That's what he giving me. He giving me Joe from You. Put her in a box for the old razzle-dazzle. Outside, gray clouds were competing for the sun. Bro, this is a long chapter, bro. Hell no, bro. This shit too long. Oh, hell no, bro. This shit got a lot of pages, bro.